Hi everyone, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom. Should be a good and safe and healthy Shabbat. This week is Parshat Mishpatim, the next Parsha, part of the book of Exodus, but it's also Rosh Chodesh Adar, which is of course Adar, the month in which Purim falls in 2 weeks' time. And there is a famous saying, Mishenichnas Adar, Marbim Besimcha. When we enter Adar, we should extend or amplify or make greater joy. And I think this year it's harder to be able to say that. I've got ideas generally related to Simcha as contentment and how we think about more being content as a people and as individuals. But it's not easy this year to say that when we come up to Purim. And we know, of course, Purim will be different than it was last year, even though last year already we were moving towards lockdown at Purim. So to go, hey, let's all be happy and be joyful is really hard. And I think that's also made me reflect on the difference between our own personal feelings, what we go through in our life, the cycles of sometimes being in sense of security and stability, and sometimes going through crisis or trauma. So that's what we go through. But in our religion, we're almost in a sense told about emotions from our calendar. We feel things as we go through the calendar. So on Rosh Hashanah, we might feel a sense of awe. We might feel a sense of reflection. At Pesach, we might feel, a sense of pride in our history or thanksgiving for God having saved us from Egypt. And on Purim, of course, the idea is to feel the joy at surviving, the story being one where we nearly were in serious trouble as a people, and yet we survived. So Purim brings with it a sense of joy for us. And that, of course, meets our own. We're meant to overlay that on what we feel. In whatever we are going through, there's that sense of joy. But I don't know, because we know that when a mourner, right, is in mourning, someone has lost a relative and they're in mourning, there, of course, are restrictions on what they do. They don't do anything that brings joy to them. There are even restrictions on learning Torah at certain times. So the 9th of Av, which is a day of national mourning, we're not allowed to learn Torah because Torah brings joy to a person. And even in the Shiva, the 7 days of mourning, we're meant to hear the Megillah. We're allowed to go to shul to hear the Megillah if one is in mourning, but to restrict what they do on Purim, to have less food at the Purim Seudah, to be more circumspect in what they might give as gifts to other people, the Mishloach Manot gifts. And so even though we sort of will keep the mitzvot, we're doing it in a restricted manner. And many of us might feel that way this year, that we do Purim because they are part of our calendar. They are part of our life. They are mitzvot that are important, to hear the Megillah, to give charity, to give Mishloach Manot gifts. And I'd encourage you all to be part of our communal project. Just book and you can give a gift to someone else of food, do the mitzvah and be part of a community. And of course, the Seudah, having some meal on Purim itself. But we will probably do it, in a sense, in mourning, not personal mourning, for some possibly will be, but the sense that we have lost over the last year, that many of us have either lost people we know, or lost experiences, or lost the world that we know. And so it's okay to feel that Purim will be a little bit different in the way we relate to it. It will both be there because it's part of our life, but it will also, in a sense, meet with the way we feel at the moment in this year of pandemic. So I'm wishing you lots of strength, safety. Be careful, of course, still. Make sure that if you get the vaccine request or can get the vaccine, please do get the vaccine. It's vital that we all vaccinate, and encourage, of course, others to do that. Have a great Shabbat. Rosh Chodesh Tov, or Chodesh Tov, as we say. Have a good Rosh Chodesh, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.